tonight wasn't business as usual for ICE. Tonight, the line got drawn on buses, in factories, in courtrooms, and on primetime. I want you to watch closely and tell me where you stand when it's over.
They like this thing. I'll get it. You know what I mean? Are you guys US citizens? Yeah. Any bags up here?
No, just me.
Okay.
This is my backpack. Yeah, and a pair of boots. I'm an artist.
Listen to what he asked. Listen to what the officer asked them.
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, we're like
US citizens? You, sir? What's up? US citizen? Yeah, I'm a US citizen.
Yeah, I'm a U.S. citizen. Now, this is what accountability looks like up close. Paperwork checks on routine routes. Not at the border. Not a talking point. A bus you and I can ride. For years, we were told this was unthinkable. Now it's happening in plain view, as you can see. Now, if your policy invites all this chaos, don't you act all surprised when order knocks on the door, or in this case, the aisle. And it wasn't just one bus, y'all. Let's zoom out real quick. When rules return, you can definitely feel it at work, too.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Tonight, the governor says she's outraged by 2 immigration raids in central New York today. Good evening. I'm Matt Mulcahy.
And I'm Megan Coleman. The governor calling the federal action cruel, saying more than 40 adults were seized, including the parents of at least a dozen children. An immigration advocacy agency says one of the raids was at a bakery in Fulton, the other in Cato.
Ahí va Azucena, ahí va Yacilda. Lo están metiendo al...
Video shared with CMY Central by the statewide advocacy group Rural and Migrant Ministry shows people being led out of the facility in Cato and into a van labeled Border Patrol. They don't appear to be handcuffed, but they aren't allowed to go anywhere except that waiting van. Those at the scene say dozens were detained by federal officials. The Rural and Migrant Ministry says these people were taken to a detention center in Oswego County. The sheriff's department there has not responded to our questions.
And tonight, new video from what appears to be the moment that Homeland Security agents confronted workers inside the facility. In this video, you can see agents talking to workers, most of them women, many of whom are using their phones to record the interaction or perhaps call family or for help. This video was sent to a trusted source of CMY Central, who then forwarded to our team.
Our team reviewed these videos and found identifiable federal officers and workers that are seen in both of them. The officers can be recognized by their clothing, some of whom have logos for sports teams and non-government organizations. CMY Central also reviewed the style of their body armored vests and duty belts, along with the contents attached to them to verify those seen in the 2 videos are in fact the same people.
Now, local law enforcement did help the federal officials in today's raid. Cuyahoga County Sheriff Brian Schenck says his office was contacted by the federal
Shout out to the local law enforcement
government to assist with traffic and security at the site while the Homeland Security investigation took place. The raid in Cato left dozens of families without answers tonight.
Yeah, that is certainly a question that we've been looking into. Gary Robinson Jr. spoke with part of the company's leadership and people who say loved ones may never come home to their families.
It started as a normal workday at Nutrition Bar Confectioners until federal agents swarmed the Cato factory. Lenny Schmidt is an owner of the company.
Came into work today and, a bunch of federal agents, sheriff's department were here conducting an investigation. I'm not sure how many, probably could be about 100. Wasn't able to get into the facility. They weren't letting anybody in there.
Schmidt says it was a terrifying scene. Officers with dogs and vehicles surrounding the factory.
The people that work for us are, every single one of them are wonderful people. They work hard. They come to work smiling. Every one of them is special. And to have them taken away is not only unfortunate, it's just inhumane almost, the way you see it, as it's being conducted.
Schmidt says most of those detained were Hispanic workers, and many families now have no idea where their loved ones are. Outside the factory, cars still sit in the lot, a stark reminder of the people who never went home.
It's the first week of school. A lot of classes are starting for, college students and everybody. This raid has disrupted a lot of families, hardworking families. All the kids are going to come home from school and ask, where's my mom? Where's my dad?
Schmidt says the factory lost a full day of production, but the bigger loss is to the community.
You feel for these people that get taken away, and they have families, they have children, and they don't know what happened to them. There's no warning, no rhyme or reason. It's just boom, gone.
We reached out to numerous state agencies for their response, and we are still waiting to hear back from many of them. Reporting in Cato, I'm Gary Robinson Jr.
Well, tonight, the governor responded to this, saying New York will work with the federal government to secure our borders and deport violent criminals, but we will never stand for masked ICE agents separating families and abandoning children.
She goes on to say today's raids will not make New York safer. What they did was shatter hardworking families who are simply trying to build a life here, just like millions of immigrants before them.
Here they go with the sob stories, man. This is what they do. 60 workers detained at a confectionery plant. I believe that's how you say it. I've never said that word in my life until today. But owner calls it inhumane. You know what's inhumane? Building a whole business model on illegal hiring. That's inhumane. Like, bro, people lack so much common sense. Undercutting legal workers and then hiding behind their families when the bill comes due. We don't criminalize compassion. We shouldn't launder crime through it either. And while some cry inhumane, you got others trying something worse. And that is manufacturing the narrative.
According to federal agents, the woman was in Bakersfield. She was staying there. She was safe, unharmed, and evidence.
I remember this girl. I was supposed to tell y'all a little more before I just got to playing this. Y'all remember the girl who faked her ICE kidnapping? This is about her.
According to federal agents, the woman was in Bakersfield. She was staying there. She was safe, unharmed. Meanwhile, her family was out here in Los Angeles claiming that she had been kidnapped by masked men and taken to the border. Investigators say none of it was true.
Ask for our authorities to not close our eyes to our families. This is not the only family going through this.
On June 30th, the family of Juliana Julia Pelaez Calderon held a press conference claiming she had been kidnapped, possibly by federal agents. They pointed to her vehicle, saying it was abandoned in the parking lot of a Jack in the Box in South Los Angeles, and evidence of her disappearance.
There's plenty of families going through this nightmare right now where we don't know where our relatives, where our loved ones are at this moment.
It turns out, according to Homeland Security, Calderon wasn't missing at all. Investigators say surveillance video clearly shows Calderon calmly exiting her vehicle at the Jack in the Box and willingly getting into another vehicle before leaving the area. Federal agents found her shopping at a market in Bakersfield. The 41-year-old undocumented woman who lived in South Los Angeles is now facing federal charges, including conspiracy and making false statements to federal officers.
Yep. She's charged with faking her own ICE kidnapping in order to raise money on GoFundMe. Now, the update is she pled guilty. Unfortunately, I didn't vet this video properly, which means y'all just watch the video that we usually watch. I mean, that we not usually watch, but we watched on a previous reaction, which I try to stem away from. But hey, I'm human and it happens. And I also want to be transparent before I start getting all in the comment section with the, stop playing the same clips. But anywho, just to review for the ones who don't know about her, a self-styled activist allegedly, right, fakes an ICE kidnapping to raise cash. Insane. This is why people are numb to real victims. You got grifters poisoning the well here. Hoaxes steal oxygen from the truth and turn sympathy into suspicion. If you help boost that lie, own it, correct it, and cut the check back. Meanwhile, real removals are happening. No hoax and no spin. Y'all remember I got right here. Kilma Abrego Garcia, I believe that's how you say his name, right? Yeah, when violent offenders hit the system, deportation should be a conclusion, not a cliffhanger. And due process? Yes. Infinite do-overs and shopping destinations. No. Justice means victims get finality. And predators don't get a passport lottery. Because this guy right here is going to Eswatini, I believe that's how you say it. He's getting deported to Africa, or an African nation, rather. Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland. His lawyers fought deportation to Uganda and 20 other nations, claiming fear of torture. Charlie Kirk added, complete joke. Good riddance. It is not just isolated cases. It's infrastructure, facilities, capacity, throughput.
Down to a major decision involving Alligator Alcatraz, a judge now reversing the order to shut it down, allowing the migrant detention center in the Everglades to stay open. This is being seen as a major victory for the Trump administration.
And we're getting reaction to the stunning news tonight. Local 10's Magdala Lusan joins us live near Ochapi with more. Magdala.
Yeah, so that initial order was just issued 2 weeks ago to the day, asking the state to shut down Alligator Alcatraz as well as move the detainees out. But now with this reversal order in today, it looks like Alligator Alcatraz will stay open, at least for now.
To a major decision involving Alligator Alcatraz.
No, hold on. Let me just rewind it so we can see the name on the screen. Womp, womp. A judge reverses a shutdown. The Everglades facility stays open. Translation. Beds processing and removal pipelines keep moving. Policy without capacity is performance art. Yeah, man. And capacity with spawn is deterrence. While we restore the rule of law, another crisis bleeds into it. The drug wave.
More and more potent. I remember as Attorney General, I was desperately asking the President, Biden, to think outside the box. We had to do something different. What was always being done was not working. We would have 7 people splayed out at a gas station that we had to rush in and try and save their lives, you know, here in Florida. I mean, it was happening over and over. And so I asked him, let's declare these cartels, terrorist organizations. Let's take it a step further. This is so deadly. It's a weapon of mass destruction. We have to do more. Of course, that fell on deaf ears. So you have a president coming in and saying, business as usual isn't cutting it. We lost 400,000 under the Biden administration. You know how many Americans in the military we lost since 9/11? About 7,000. I mean, this is what the #1 killer of Americans. China knows it. The synthetic products are coming out of there. They know it because they're using it in negotiations with our country. Mexico knows it. And so President Trump's come in and said, no, we're going to declare these cartels foreign terrorist organizations, and we're going to take whatever means is necessary to protect American lives. He always thinks outside the box. What's always been business as usual doesn't work. We're going to try something new. And I think Americans should be proud of a president that puts American lives and safety first.
Amen to that. Calling cartels terrorist organizations isn't hyperbole. You know what I mean? When fentanyl is killing whole neighborhoods. If Washington couldn't at the time, and wouldn't rather, name the enemy, local crowns have to say the quiet part out loud. The body count isn't a statistic. It's an arbitrary machine. And here's the gut punch metric that ties policy to people. The kids.
Troubling findings show thousands of migrant children were given to unvetted sponsors under President Biden. Fox News has an exclusive look at the federal team working to find them now. Brooke Taylor is live in Dallas. She's got the latest for us. Good morning, Brooke.
Hi, Dana. Yeah, this team was created in March to fulfill one of President Trump's key campaign promises that he enlisted border czar Tom Homan with, which is to find the tens of thousands of unaccompanied minors who crossed the border and were ultimately lost in the system under the Biden administration.
We found kids in very deplorable conditions, very dirty conditions. We found children who have been raped.
We got exclusive access to the team operating from what they call the War Room in Washington, D.C. Working under the Department of Health and Human Services, the team is made up of volunteers from agencies like the FBI and Homeland Security investigations. The team is entirely data-driven. They're focused on analyzing records and addresses to track down where these minors ended up. More than 22,000 unaccompanied children have been found so far under this Trump administration. 27 of the minors were found dead, either murdered or by suicide, car accident, or drug overdoses. And more than 400 sponsors have been arrested.
We're talking about debt bondage, where children are being made to work off debt, trafficking debt. We're talking about children that were brought into situations and then treated like sexual slaves.
Man.
In early 2021, record number of children became crossing the border. According to HHS, between 2021 to 2024, more than 470,000 unaccompanied children crossed into the United States. Records show that many of these children were released to sponsors under very lax vetting policies.
What do you think people would be surprised of when it comes to the lack of screening?
Well, under the last administration, there was a severe lack of screening. There was no DNA testing to see if there was a familial connection. Children were released to people that said they were their parents who were not. And in many cases, the data is horrible. What the Biden administration was taking in and actually putting into our computer systems was not the right information. So now we have to draw that all back in and deeply investigate into where some of these children went.
And under the Trump administration, sponsors now have to get DNA tested, they have to get fingerprinted and show proof of income that they could actually take care of the child. Dana.
22,000 plus children located. Hundreds of sponsors arrested. Dozens found deceased. That's not a talking point. That's a scoreboard. You don't fix this by slogan. You fix it by screening, tracking, and consequences for smugglers and paper sponsors. If you enable this pipeline, the receipts are catching up. Tonight showed the difference between performing passion and protecting people. Border policy isn't left versus right. It's order versus... No, it's right versus wrong, rather. I could have said chaos. I just said chaos earlier. But if you watch this all the way through, I want y'all to put in the comment section, line drawn. Write that in the comments. And if you mad at me for saying it, mad at the footage, I don't care. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody. Y'all go check on somebody today. You could be saving their life. Peace.